Before we start, take a moment to like and subscribe. Once upon a time, there was a huge and wonderful city called Troy. Its walls weren't made of ordinary bricks or stones. They were made of giant, fluffy, golden brown pancakes stacked so high that they seemed to be a mile tall. Living there was like living in the coziest, safest castle in the whole world. The air smelled like maple syrup, and the ground felt a little bit bouncy when you walked on it. But outside these magnificent pancake walls, a really long and kind of silly contest had been going on. For 10 whole years, a team of heroes called the Greeks had been trying to win a game of King of the Hill against the Trojans. The contest rules were simple. The Greeks had to get inside the city, and the Trojans had to keep them out. It was a lot of huffing, puffing, and shouting, but nobody was winning. The Greeks couldn't get in, and the Trojans couldn't make them leave. Everyone was getting tired and a little bit grumpy from all the huffing and puffing. The Greek team was led by many strong heroes, but the most clever one was a hero named Odysseus. He wasn't the loudest or the fastest, but his brain was as fast as a firefly. While everyone else was complaining about how boring the contest had gotten, Odysseus was sitting quietly on a rock, thinking of a super sneaky plan. He knew that the usual silly tricks, like trying to throw a rubber chicken over the wall or making funny faces to distract the guards, weren't working. It was time for a great big wiggly surprise. One night, under the twinkly moonlight, Odysseus gathered all the Greek leaders together in a whisper-quiet huddle in a secret sandy cove. He unrolled a big map and pointed to the Troy walls. We can't win the contest," he said with a wink, his voice barely a squeak. "So we'll make them want to be friends instead." His idea was to build something so big and so magnificent that the Trojans would want to take it inside their city themselves. But what could that be? A giant, beautiful wooden horse. Odysseus explained every step of his zany plan. He used a stick to draw a huge, round shape in the sand, representing the horse's tummy. "This tummy will be full of snacks," he giggled. "But it will also be full of the bravest, most ticklish Greek heroes. So we'll hide inside and wait for the Trojans to pull us in. The rest of the team will pack up their silly contest stuff and ships and pretend to sail away, making the Trojans think they have given up for good." The other heroes all looked at each other with silly, confused faces. One hero, Ajax, gasped so hard his helmet popped right off his head. Another, Diomedes, nearly dropped his shield. It was such a wonderfully sneaky and crazy plan that it just had to work. The Greek heroes got to work right away. They found the biggest, most colorful logs they could and worked day and night with happy humming and gentle hammering. The air filled with the sound of cheerful saws and friendly mallets. Soon, a giant, majestic horse began to take shape. They used brightly colored wood and painted on a big, goofy smile with huge, googly eyes. It had a long, swishy tail made of bright, sparkly ribbons from the Greeks' old contest flags. It was taller than 3 trees stacked on top of each other. When the horse was finally ready, it was time for the secret part. Odysseus and a group of the best friends on the team climbed a little ladder and squeezed themselves inside the horse's huge wooden belly. It was cozy and a little dark, but they had packed delicious cheese sandwiches, tiny bottles of fizzy grape juice, and a deck of cards. They knew they had to be extra, extra quiet, like a group of sleepy squirrels who had just eaten too many nuts. They had to be as silent as a library full of napping kittens. Then the rest of the Greek team packed up their tents and sailed away, making sure the Trojans saw them leaving. The Trojans on the pancake walls cheered, jumping up and down and pointing. "They're gone, they're gone," they shouted with glee. "We won the great big grumpy contest." But the Greeks didn't go far. They just went around a little island and waited, hiding just out of sight, ready for their friends to give them the signal. The next morning, the people of Troy woke up and couldn't believe their eyes. The Greek team was gone. Their beach was empty. They had won the great big grumpy contest. They opened their city gates for the first time in forever and ran out cheering and dancing. Then they saw it. In the middle of the field was the most magnificent giant horse they had ever seen. The Trojans gathered around it, wondering what it was. A super cautious and slightly grumpy old priest named Laocoon squinted at the horse. "It's a mystery." He shouted, "We don't know what it is. It could be full of spiders or stinky socks." But just then, a Greek boy named Sinon came out from behind a bush. He looked a little nervous, but he told the truth. "This horse is a gift from the Greeks to thank you for being such a fun contest team," he explained. "If you bring it inside your city, it will bring you lots of good luck and good times." Just as the priest was about to complain again, two long, floppy, colorful ribbons from the horse's mane came to life. They danced and bounced around, wiggling toward the grumpy priest and tickling his nose and ears. He wiggled and giggled so much that everyone else started laughing and completely forgot his warning. They decided they wanted the tickle horse inside their city. With all their strength, the Trojans used ropes and pulleys to pull the massive wooden horse up a hill and through their great city gates. It was a very tight squeeze, and they had to wiggle the horse just right to get it through. They were so excited. They threw the biggest, most exciting party in the history of Troy, celebrating the end of the grumpy contest and their amazing new gift. Inside the horse, it was a very different story. Odysseus and the friends could hear the happy music and the cheers outside. It was a long, quiet night inside their cozy space. They had to be as silent as sleepy mice. Every time they heard a loud cheer, they would hold their breath and giggle to themselves. They shared their snacks and whispered jokes, waiting patiently while the party went on and on. Finally, after what felt like forever, the party quieted down. The Trojans were exhausted from all the celebrating and dancing. The whole city fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. This was the moment Odysseus and his friends had been waiting for. Quietly and carefully, Odysseus pushed open a small, secret door on the horse's belly. He slid down a little rope, and his friends followed, landing on the soft grass without a sound. They were finally inside the great city of Troy. They crept through the dark, empty streets. The first thing they did was find the huge main gate. They unbarred it and pushed it open wide. Then, a brave little soldier used a special signal. He lit a bright firework and sent it high into the night sky. The Greeks who were hiding on the other side of the island saw the sparkly light. They knew what it meant. They quickly sailed back to Troy. When they reached the city, the gates were wide open, and their friends were waiting for them, ready to share the surprise. The Greeks brought in giant pies, colorful balloons, and more musical instruments. They didn't come to win a silly contest. They came to make friends and celebrate. The Trojans woke up to the smell of fresh pie and the sound of cheerful music, and they realized the war was over for good. The Greek heroes and the Trojans became the best of friends. And the giant horse was a happy reminder that cleverness and kindness are the best ways to solve any problem. The horse became the symbol of a clever plan that led to a great friendship.